Hi guys, so I've gotten a lot of requests to do a eyebrow tutorial and I just figured I'd hop on and do a quick little tutorial. Right now I had them pre-done, but I'm going to take these off and I'm going to show you two different methods. One of them I'll be using a pomade, which is basically like a pot eyeliner almost. It lasts you a lot longer than a stick does. I'm also going to be using a eyebrow pencil version, which you can use any brand. Right now both of these are Kat Von D because they're cruelty free and they last a pretty long time. And they're pretty affordable. They're each only like 20 bucks. But like I said, this pomade lasts way longer, but it depends on how thick your eyebrows are and what you're looking for. So let me go take off my eyebrows and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I took off my eyebrows and I'm pretty lucky and I have grown out my eyebrows recently, so it's a lot easier for me to follow them. But even for those of you who maybe have overplucked over the years, you should still be able to tell where your natural brow is, or at least where you're comfortable with drawing it, and over time with practice it'll feel more natural. But for those of you with dark hair, it's going to be easier for you because it won't be such a drastic difference. For me, I feel like I barely have eyebrows whenever I don't have them done just because I do such a bold eyebrow. But basically today, all you're going to need, for example, if you're doing the pomade version, you're just going to need two tools to get that done. A spindle because it helps brush your eyebrows up and in place so it's easier to see while you're moving around. And then a flat angle brush, which looks like this. And these, my grandma got them for me from wish.com, which is just a really cheap place, but you can get them from anywhere. I just recommend that they're very short and angled, not flat, but angled, so that way it goes with your brow movement. Or if you're going to be using a pencil like this, for example, a really inexpensive, like very inexpensive brand is NYX, and they do sell it very similarly. It comes out of this side and then it has a built-in spindle, so you won't need to buy one. But this one also comes the same way, so that's all I use for that. No matter what, you're going to need some concealer, whatever brand you like. This one's okay. It's the Tarte brand, but I even actually really like this Maybelline. It's better skin, and it actually matches my skin better than a lot of high-end makeup brands. But just for it being quick, I'm just going to use the Tarte. And then if you have actual like longer hairs like me, I like to put them in place after I'm done. So this is just super inexpensive NYX Control Freak. It's clear brow gel, and I just put it on afterwards so that way they stay in place all day. I just take the flat angled brush, and to prep it I just either use a baby wipe and moisten it, or you can use a spray such as I got this Mario Badescu spray from Ulta. I got it for like, I don't know, $5-6, and it's really great. It's actually a moisturizer too for those people like me who are really oily and can't actually use a moisturizer. But I just spray a little bit on the brush, and right now I have product in it, so I'm trying to get some of that out. And then I'm just going to prep my eyebrow by pushing them all upwards. And as you can see, my tail end is way longer than my front end. That's because I trimmed my front end a little bit. And so now I can see where to follow at the bottom. So that's what I do first, is I take my flat angled brush and a pomade basically looks like this. Just a little pot. And you just dip in there a little bit. A little bit of this goes a long way. So now I'm going to do this in the camera. I typically like to start there in the middle, and I goofed up a tiny bit just because I was doing it on my phone, just because I can see where it's going easier. And say you mess up, it's not the end of the world. You can either take a Q-tip and brush that product off and start over like I did, or you can just go with it, and concealer would definitely fix any issue later on, I promise. So best if you do short motions so that you can stay in control of the product and you can easily move it around. So as you can see, I'm just slightly defining that underline so that way I can move the product up from there I always clean them. And some of my hair is moving in the way. So I'm going to have to fix that real quick by just taking the spindle and brushing it back up out of the way. Now that I have my bottom line done, I just take some product, I wipe some of the excess off of my baby wipe here, and I'm just going to take that bottom line and brush upwards, and I have it pointed this way and up into the brow. So that way I'm not necessarily filling my brows too dark. Alright, and I'm just filling that middle part. I'm not really focusing on the top line yet. I'm just trying to fill a little bit of that middle by just brushing the product up and over. Okay, now in order to do the top part of your brow, you want to go in reverse and push downwards and get all of your hairs out of the way. Again, if you don't have hair there, it's still helpful to see in case you do have any like blonde hairs, just to get a better view of what you're working with. And I don't start from over here because then it's going to create a very harsh line and it's not going to look as natural as it could. So I just like to take it again from about here over. And this is going to determine the thickness of your brows. The underneath is defining the arch of your brow and the overall shape it's going to take. Now the top is determining how thick you're actually going to make your brows. Everyone has their preference, and bushy brows are definitely in, but I think that's more about your natural brow versus what you're filling. Mine stop, literally, like they're not even, I think they're like a centimeter thick. They're not very thick, and I like them that way. But, I mean, if you're all about big brows, by all means, do that. Or if you have natural bushier brows, feel free to just naturally like fill them in as much as you're comfortable. It's actually easier if you have bushier and more coarse hairs because you can make brush-like strokes to fill them. Unfortunately, my hair is dark, but it's not coarse, and you can see all of the gappage. And I got microblading done a year ago, and it's already faded for me, so I wanted to get some more, filling done. But right now it's just, I like to get my eyebrows done. I like to fill them myself. It's just something that I've always done. So, and I'm just bringing that product over to where the turning point is going to be for my brow. As you can see, my natural brow already like starts to come down to the arch right there. So I just tried to mimic that. Now, my natural brow is kind of pointed, and I'm not a big fan. So I take a little bit extra product here, and I round it out. Now, this is the part that always takes fixing. No matter what I do, it's never quite perfect. And that's why my brows always take me the longest. And again, I'm just brushing that product up and over and then down. Kind of the same motions all throughout it, just to make sure I like the overall gist. And just brushing my hair back up. And this will also help to blend it out, and sometimes it gets some of the excess product out of my brow. Pomades are very thick, and you're gonna notice it is harder to move your eyebrow hairs over, but again, it's not going to come off. So that is a plus. Now I'm just gonna fix this side, and all I do for that is I just take a flat concealer brush, which looks like this. Is very basic, again, from Wish. It was a part of a set, which was really inexpensive, and I just take the utensil out of the concealer, dip a little bit, and honestly, this is probably too much, so I'm going to just dab a little bit off, and I place it initially in the arch part of my brow, and I'm just going to clean up that bottom line to make it straight, and any parts of product that aren't aligned. See, I already cleaned that so well. And once I get closer over here, I really don't like to use a ton of product just because I know I'm going to wear a lot of eyeshadow, and I use a lot of concealer on my arch because I usually put a highlighter right over top and it helps it to stick out better. But again, I'm just making sure that I have clean lines, and I just dab the excess off onto the baby wipe because it usually has a little bit of the brow pomade in it. And for the top, again, I just got a little bit of concealer, just an itty bitty bit, and I just gently clean up my lines, and I just straighten. So that's the finished eyebrow by just using a pomade and concealer. Super easy. I do think it's easier to use a pomade when you're starting out because you're drawing it. Now, if you're wanting a more lighter look, you can definitely use a pencil, which is what we're about to do for the other side. So I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so with this side, I'm going to go ahead and, it's crazy the difference an eyebrow makes. Sorry, side note. I'm just going to take off both caps of both ends. So the one end, I have a little bit of eyebrow hair on there. Now that is the one thing about these I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like if your eyebrow hair easily comes out, these will pull it out. But that's just because, think about it, you're taking a product and constantly dragging it across your eyebrows. So it's not like you're just filling and putting product on top of it. You're literally dragging this around. That's the only downside. But I'm going to take the spindle just like on the other side and brush them up. Now, I did try to pluck a little bit each day so that way it's manageable and I don't have to get them waxed or look crazy waiting for them to get waxed. Alright, so now that we pushed it all up, I'm going to do literally the same exact process in terms of lining the bottom, and then I'm actually, with this, I do a different process. I line the top and then I fill, just because it's a more natural look and I don't want to overly fill. It's not going to take me as long, and there's not enough product for me to push up that's left over, so it's more so adding, spindling versus like that. So again, I'm just going to line the bottom. And unless if you have a brand new pencil, it is difficult to get that product to get as close to your line as possible. I mean, it looks okay at first, but it's just a little bit too low in certain parts because I don't have full control. Think of it as using a marker versus a pencil. This is like a marker for me versus my nice tailored pencil. Now again, I did say I'm trying to go a little bit more natural, so now I goofed up. Okay. So my bottom line is officially as good as it's going to get for the moment, and then I brush everything downwards. There's some really long hairs on this side. And again, small strokes are what leads the way. I just do a little bit, pick up, move it over, pick it up, move it over. Just very small steps. Because A, it's gonna feel like your actual brows is gonna look more tailored to that. And now, as you could see, I was filling a little bit there. I was just going from that top part that I did and down, going from my top line and down into my tail just a little bit. And I'm not pushing as hard as I get closer to the outside here. And let's push all of our brow back up. Now like I said, mine are dark, but I can definitely see some gaps. So I'm just going in and filling a little bit where you see fit. And for the front, I just push up a little bit more. And I do a couple hair-like strokes, which I'm just gently flicking it up from the bottom. Now, anytime I use one of these, I have to fix so much more than I do with the other one, because obviously I goofed up a little bit. Now, personally, I'm pretty okay with the filling aspect of this one. It's filled, it's still not too bad. It's pretty comparable because I don't use a ton of product for the pomade. I'm just going over and adding more product to see where from spindling, it will take product over and will move product around. So I just like to go back over where it took too much away. Again, I'm wetting a concealer brush, very easy. Just a little dab on there. Start in your arch. And I don't put it right on the line, if you notice. I put it here and then I move it slightly closer each time. I always do like little strokes because if I do one big stroke, it's going to jack up the whole thing. And if your tail gets out too far, you can just erase it with your concealer. It doesn't matter if you already have foundation on like me. It's super easy. Just need a little bit more to clean out my bottom line there. And after I clean stuff up, I do wipe off my brush and then I go back into the concealer. Now I just have to clean up the little goof mess I did up front. So I'm just flicking up and then getting as close as possible to where I'd be more comfortable with it. And I just take a little bit of powder, whatever kind you use. I actually had some left over on my makeup sponge. So I'm just going to dab that around where I put the concealer. And as of right now, that's the two eyebrows. I'm just going to take a little bit of this. I just wipe off the tip of it. And I go up. And then I brush them all down and over. So I brush them up, over, down, basically. So up, over, down. So that way they lay flat with it. And this is the finished look. Now I did have my original ones on all day at work, which that was probably like 9-10 hours. So it does last all day and I itch constantly in my face and they stay on. So and like I'm pushing, like nothing's coming off. That's why I love Kat Von D. Like I said, I am a little oily. So yeah. And that's the finished look. So thanks for watching.